Hello everyone, Kingsley here for Lightspeed Saber League, the world's fastest light-based fencing, coming back at you with another lightsaber fight commentary. This time I thought I'd go over to the other side of the world and check out the Italian-originated league, Ludosport, probably one of the longest-running lightsaber leagues that are around, and I decided to go with the semifinals at one of their events from earlier this year. Oh no, excuse me, from 2019 actually. So as you can see, this was a pretty large event, pretty well produced. They've always done a really, really good job with that actually, so it's something that's very, very impressive. Now, this is so different from what we do. I think that we're a lot closer to this than what Saber Legion does because we're so much lighter weight, have so much less armor. But these guys really go way on the other end and have no armor whatsoever. They don't. Sometimes they wear goggles. They wear some very light leather gloves, I believe, but there's virtually no protection. And I believe they use 7/8 size blades. I think I'm not positive on that. And they have their own Polaris lightsaber. Actually, I believe it is called the Polaris. So that is pretty cool. This is one of the more fancy lightsaber groups out there. To me, it's rather dangerous, but they do say that they have a particular fighting system which you must train in before you can participate in. Okay, so there is that. They don't just allow you to walk in and just start doing it. You have to train, and I understand that the training period is quite long. Actually, it takes. My understanding is it takes just 6 months just to get through the first Form 1 Shicho, and then another 6 months to do Makashi. And so I don't even know when they allow you to actually fight. So this has spread out quite a bit throughout Europe, which is most impressive. And but so far as I've seen, the very best of them are the Italians, which of course is where they originated from. So I expect a good treat here. We have Matteo Ciotti, as if I try to pronounce that correctly, based on the ring girl, and then Francesco D'Adosio. Again, my best pronunciation based on the voiceover. It was a bit fuzzy. So, before we start, I'll try to explain the rules to you guys as far as I understand them. All blows must be mortal blows, and therefore any hits to the knees or beyond, or the elbows or beyond, don't count. However, the match does stop though, and you are required to step away and declare a non-mortal blow, which I believe they will call by saying "ich" or "ih." There's an Italian term for that. And then if there's a blow to a mortal section, such as the core of the body or the top of the head, then that's an "oh" or a mortal hit. There may have been a touch there, yellow pursuing on red, but I'll need to wait for the refs to make a call here. So the refs are going to make a determination here. Finally, one thing to know is that they do not allow hits to the face or the neck or the head, as far as I understand. They do allow hits to the top of the head, though. They do need to be percussive hits, so they need to bounce off the top of the head. So they need to be like just quick taps that fall off. So I don't think they called a hit there. Now we're going into the second encounter here. As you can see, these encounters last quite a long time in comparison to anything from Lightspeed or Saber Legion, because it's so hard to get a solid hit because of the fact that you got to go in so deep. You can't score on the head, you can't score on the extremities, so you really got to go in deep there. I thought I saw a hit to the top of the head there, but I'm not positive. Nice flying movement from Gold there, and the ref calls an "oh," and they're calling 1 point to the top of the head, I believe, for Gold. So they are now at 1-0. Gold looking like he's pretty mobile. He's out on the outside. They do use that circle out there to use designate their ranges, unlike the boxes that we use in Lightspeed and the boxes used in Saber Legion. Another and I believe they made that call for Gold once again, so they are at 2-0. So Gold is taking a serious lead here. Another thing that's different about Ludosport is that they use much lower point values because it is generally takes a long time to score a point. It's kind of like soccer in that way. So there's not that many points for it. All right. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into some of the tactics of this fight here. Interestingly, Gold has taken the center position here, and I believe Red may have scored on top of the head with a failed defense from Gold. Let's see what the referee has to say. And she scores another point to the top of the head there, but this one going for red, so they are now at 2-1 for gold, I believe. So far, it seems like the head is a good spot to go for a hit. I would say that makes a lot of sense because that target is on the extremities, but it is a valid hit, though. So that's interesting. So, going for the hands, going for the forearms, going for the toes, the shins, none of that scores. But those are the extremities. Those are easy targets to reach for, whereas the head is an extremity. It's not as easily reached as the other parts, but it's it's probably easier to get than it is to get like the shoulder or the chest or the torso or something like that. So that's interesting so far. I believe every hit so far, no, the last 2 hits have been on the head, and the first one was over on the chest, I believe. And that's another point for gold, and that makes it 3-1, and gold wins that match. So as you can see, it goes by really, really quickly. I actually barely even talked about the fight, actually, so maybe I'll go for another one after this. So I did spend a bit of a time talking about the rules and things like that, but I think that did illustrate some interesting concepts about the general strategies used in Ludosport. It seems like headshots are probably very, very important. It's probably very common to go for the top of the head, which again freaks me out. I want to be very honest about this. I think that the artistry of what they're doing is beautiful, and if they can really manage this at a large scale, and it seems like they are, then that's really amazing. But I do find that it freaks me out quite a bit. I've seen quite a few close calls. So far, what I've seen here hasn't been too bad, so I haven't been too freaked out or anything like that. As I've said before, the Italians, the originators of Ludosport, do this really, really well. I think I can't quite say the same about the other countries that have gotten on board. And so I hope that they catch up because I've seen some stuff from the other countries and some of it looks quite scary without the equipment. So I feel like they ought to try to develop a secondary level which requires a bit more equipment. I think that might be a good way to start. That way they can get in there, be a little bit safer, and they can reserve the high level stuff like this with no equipment, and that way they can have their best fighters out there looking at their best, and their lower level fighters going out there who are probably not going to be as crowd pleasing, but are going to be a bit safer out there. So anyway, so we're waiting for the next fight to come up. That was the one of the semifinals, and I believe it's going to take a bit of time here. However, I think we have a bit of a show here. We've got the next competitor coming up, I think maybe dual wielding. Okay, I think we have Santari, and I didn't hear the other name, so I'm going to have to wait for the nameplate to pop up here. But yeah, it looks like we are going in with a dual wielder here. I don't know what their rules are about dual wielding, but it looks like their blades may be a tad shorter, which would make their rules quite equivalent to the Lightspeed rules, where we do allow the dual wielding, but the blades are 2 inches shorter. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but it matters quite a bit in Lightspeed. We'll have to see for Ludosport. Before I go on, just to be clear, dual wield is not technically legal still in competition in Lightspeed, simply for the difficulty of refereeing, but we do allow them in practice competitions, and in general sparring, that is perfectly okay. So, all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and use blue and red for this one, going by this color of the sabers. I believe they're going for 3 points as before, so we'll go ahead and commentate on this match here. Blue trying to move his blade around, which is common for dual wielding, creates a bit of a wall, makes it hard for your opponent to creep in, especially in this system here. Oh wow, that might have been a low ducking hit to the torso there. I think the referees might have to confer on that one. I didn't really. Yep, got a nice for the fighter on the left. So red is now at 1-0. So that's pretty skilled movement actually from the red fighter, considering that blue was putting out that big wall of blades there. And he's going for a bigger wall again. Nice defense there. And I don't know what happened there. Oh wow. Gee, he just dropped his blade. I don't know if he rammed him. Oh, he might have rammed himself. I'm not really positive. Oh no, that's too bad. Let's go and take a moment here to rewind it and take a look at what happened. All right, we're gonna take another look at that point there. See if we can go at it in slow motion. He's bouncing around quite a bit, and oh gee, now Okay, so I think he was popping around. He landed on that leg and landed on it wrong or something like that. And it seems like he possibly rolled his ankle or something like that. So nothing too bad. I was actually afraid that he might have hit his blade on the floor and saddled himself or something like that. But fortunately, I don't think that's what happened. So that's not the worst thing that could have possibly occurred. So we'll wait here for a moment and see if they come back here. All right, and we are back, and that was a good long 15-minute pause actually. So I think they probably wanted to give the other competitor some time to decide whether he wanted to continue, but it appears that due to injury, that competitor has stepped out, and therefore his opponent is has moved on by default, and that appears to be Daniel Stankari. Again, I don't know exactly how that is pronounced, but I just did my best here. And it looks like it's going to be Francesco D'Adosio from the previous fight, who won in a very commanding fight, 3-1 in the gold. So looks like they will be fighting out for the grand final. So now, what are we going to see from here? As far as I can see, that is Stankari in the back there, and it seems that he has opted for a single blade this time. So it's going to be single versus single. So it's going to be a very, very straightforward fight, so to speak. So I wonder what goes into his decision to make that choice. Probably these people know each other, and they probably make decisions based on who they're going to compete against. Well, I didn't even know that they allowed dual wield in Ludosport at this point. So right off the bat, I can see that Sankari has a major height advantage actually, so that could be very difficult. Ranging is such an important factor here, especially considering you've really got to reach in to get those targets. Unlike Lightspeed, where you can target the hands and the hilt, that means that the blade lengths is the only thing that matters, and so your height. Well, height does matter, but since the blade lengths are all the same, the distance from hand to hand is still the same regardless of height. Now, in this case, the hands are not targets, and therefore you can only reach into the core target area, the body, and therefore therefore arm length is going to matter a lot more than it would in Lightspeed. So this is something that is going to definitely play a factor. Now we'll have to see if Francesco, who seems to be lighter, a little bit leaner, he's probably going to be a bit faster, a little bit more nimble. Stankari, maybe not so much. Although we didn't really get to see him fighting for very long, so it's hard to say. So, all right, so here we go. Both of them are opting to use a reverse stance here, so that's interesting. Okay, especially considering that range is such an advantage here, and that looked like a nice, almost a slide tackle attack there onto the torso from Gold. And that is a touch for Gold. So I think Gold is definitely showing his agility here. Definitely going low. Could be dangerous for Red to keep his blade up high, which it appears that he's not doing so now. So I think he maybe have learned something here. Although he's going high up again, so maybe not. Flying attack here. Red Gold pursuing in. Might have scored a touch on the torso there. Hard to say. But I think the refs did see something there. And nope, it looks like the hit was an onto Gold actually, so Red scored that hit, and that is a 1-1. A little hard for me to see where that was actually. So let's go ahead and play it back and see if we can spot that hit. Okay, so I'm playing it back, and I've looked at it several times, and the best I can see is this hit on the forearm against Gold here. I'm not sure if Gold might have been robbed here. I'm not really positive, but that should not be a legal target as far as I understand it. So not really sure what happened here, but I'm going to have to go with the referees here. So they stand at 1-1. I don't know if it's 3 points or not. Big movement from Gold there, trying to rush in there. Red goes low, changing his stance quite a bit. Tries going sideways here, and might have been hit in the back, possibly, if Red did not land a blow first on the body. We'll have a little hard to see from here, but we'll wait for the ref's deliberation. And they score that for Gold, so it looks like Red went for the low attack. Gold was able to escape out of it and strike Red onto the back. So nice movement from Gold there. All right. Red kind of slowing down here. Gold pacing around, looking for an avenue in somewhere. both wait for someone else to make a move so they can respond. See if Gold will try to go for another low attack possibly. That seems to work well for him, actually. It tends to like to duck right under whatever the other opponent is doing. Oh, big movement there. And, oh. Hopefully that was not an injury there. That was some big movement there. Gold potentially snuck in under for a torso hit, but it seems like he's fine. Probably ran into the blade at some point. That was quite a flurry of action, though. Hopefully he's okay. And yeah, it looked like a serious aggression from Gold. 2-1. Again, he sneaks in low. That seems to be working very well for him. And that may be something that is a solid strategy against an opponent who definitely has a height advantage there. So that seems to be working nicely. And I'm almost positive that he'll do that again. All right, Gold on the outskirts now. Trying to get back in there. And another big sweeping series of attacks there. A little out of range for me there. But Gold showing his aggression. Again, going quite low. And Gold scores that hit. That is 3-1, and Gold wins that match. Okay, so that was kind of interesting, looking at it from a strategic point of view. In terms of risk, you know, some of the stuff that I've always been worried about is exactly what I'm seeing. You know, even at the high levels, the accidents are potentially going to happen. So it's a bit of a concern, you know, and it's why I've generally tried to move away from this kind of setup. But you know, it seems to be working for them, and you know, it does produce some interesting combat. So you know, definitely hope they continue to be successful with it. And yeah, it seems like if you're a bit shorter in Lulu Sport, then go low. You might be able to sneak your way in for those touches. So anyway, so that's the end of this live stream. I hope it was okay. This is not something I've ever really watched before. I mean, I've seen Lulu Sport before, obviously, but I've really not spent much time analyzing in this manner. So I hope that you enjoyed this. It was definitely an experience for me. So if you enjoyed this, let me know what league you'd like me to comment on next, or if there's a particular fight that you'd like me to comment on, then let me know. And we'll take a crack at it, okay? If you've got any comments, questions, put them in the comments, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can, okay? Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.